Hare Krishna, dear devotees, let's chant Japa with Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnupadaya, Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale, Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine, Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine, Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine, Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्रीमद् भगवत गीता एज इट इज की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome to today's Srimad Bhagavatam for all session. Let us recite Bhagavad Gita Shloka. We are reciting Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 12, texts 6 and 7. If anyone needs to go first, please raise your hand. We'll just go in order then. Achintya Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to the assembled devotees.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Prabhuji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Second. Yeah, go ahead, Prabhuji.
Mataji, you'll have to help me.
Oh, yes, yes. Ye tu sarvani karmani.
Ye tu sarvani karmani.
Mai sanyasya matparaha.
Mai sanyasya matparaha.
Ananye naiva yogena.
Ananya eve yogena.
Ananye naiva yogena.
Ananya naiva yogena.
Mam dhyayanta upasate.
Mam dhyayanta upasate.
Tesham aham samudharta.
Tesam aham samudharta.
Mrityu samsara sagarat.
Mrityu samsara sagarat.
Bhavami na chirat partha.
Bhavami na chirat partha.
Mayi aveshita chetasam.
Mai avesha chitasam. Translation. But those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Pratha, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So next, Isha.
ये तु सर्वाणि कर्माणि मयि सन्न्यस्य मत्पराः अनन्येनैव योगेन मां ध्यायन्त उपासते तेषाम् अहं समुद्धर्ता संसारसागरात् भवामि न चिरात् पार्थ maya veshadachaitasam. But those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me, and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service, and always meditate upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Pritha, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death.
Krishnashish.
ये तु सर्वाणि कर्माणि मयि सन्न्यस्य मत्परा अनन्येनैव योगेन मां ध्यायन्त उपासते तेषामहं समुद्धर्ता इति संसारसागरात् भवामि न चिरात् पार्थ मया वेशितचेतसाम्. But those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Pritha. For them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death.
Madhava.
Yetu sarvani karmani maya samyasya matparaha ananyena yogena mam jayanta upasate yasam aham samuddharta mrityu samsarat sagarat bhavami chirat partha maya vesita chetasam. For those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me, and being devoted to me, without deviation, engaged in devotional service, and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Pritha, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death.
Rasapriya.
Yeta sarvani karmani sannyasa madparaha ananyanaiva yogeto manthyayanto paste tesvam aham samudharta mriti samsarasagara bhavaminacharat partha maya vesita chetasam. But those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me, and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service, and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Pritha, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death.
Yeah. Next, Usha Mataji, Medha.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranams, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to the assembled devotees.
Dandavat Pranam Mataji, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Etu sarvani karmani mayi sannyasa matpara ananyaiva yogena mam dhyayanta upasate teshamaham samudharta mrityu samsara sagarat bhavami nachirat partha maya vesista chetasam. Translation. But those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me, and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service, and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Partha. For them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you.
Meta is not there.
Okay. Aditi Lata Mataji and Arunita, you're there?
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Ye tu sarvani karmani mai sannyasa matpara ananye naiva yogena mam dhyayanta upasate tesham maham samudharta mrityu samsara sagarat bhavami na chirat partha mai aveshita chetasam. But those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me, and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service, and always meditating upon me, having fixed their mind upon me, O son of Pritha, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. Thank you, Mataji.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Arunita.
Yetu sarvani karmani mai sannyasa matprana ananye niva yogena mam dayanta pasate tesham aham samudatra mrityu samsara sagarat bhavani na charat partha maya vesha chetasam. Translation. But those who worship me, giving up all of their activities unto me, and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service, and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Pritha. For them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else? I think everyone has recited. Okay, I'll also recite. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 12, text 6 and 7. Yetu sarvani karmani mai sanyasya matparaha ananyenaiva yogena mam dhyayanta upasate tesham aham samudharta Ritya samsara sagarat bhavami nachirat partha mayaveshita chetasam. But those who always worship me, giving up their activities, all their activities. But those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me, being always devoted to me without deviation, and engaged in my devotional service, engaged in devotional service, and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Partha, Pritha, O son of Pritha, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. Needs more practice. Let's read Srimad Bhagavatam. We're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 14. So this chapter is entitled Lord Parashuram. Oh, we finished this. Why did I open this one? One second. Chapter 15. We are actually in chapter 15. Yes. Chapter 15 is entitled Parashuram, the Lord's warrior incarnation. And what did we read so far? So we were reading about the descendants of King Pururava. So we came after several generations from King Pururava, we came to King Gadi. King Gadi had a daughter, Satyavati, and the sage Richika Muni wanted to marry Satyavati. So he was a Brahmana, he wanted to marry a princess, the daughter of King Gadi. King Gadi didn't think that Richika Muni would be a suitable husband for his daughter. So he just made a condition, laid a condition that I'm from, a great Kshatriya family, and I have a great ancestry. And in our family, this is the custom that whenever, a daughter is married, the groom's side should give a big dowry. So I want you to give me 1,000 horses, all brilliant like the moonshine, and one of their ears is black. All of them should have that, either left or right. So immediately Richik Muni understood, oh, the king is trying to avoid, because he's thinking that I won't be able to do this, and he doesn't have to give his daughter to me. But what did Richik Muni do? He went to Varuna, the demigod Varuna, and he was able to get these 1,000 horses, and he immediately brought and gave to King Gadi. Gadi, obviously, he had to keep his promise, so he gave his daughter Satyavati in marriage to Richika Muni. Now, King Gadi didn't have any children. I mean, he had Satyavati, but he didn't have any sons. So, Satyavati also wanted to have children. So, they request Richika Muni to that they would like to have sons. So Richika Muni prepared 2 oblations, one for his wife Satyavati, another one for his mother-in-law, the wife of King Gadi. And the oblation prepared for his wife was meant for a great learned Brahmana son, and the oblation which he prepared for his mother-in-law was meant to beget a son who would be a fierce Kshatriya. After preparing these oblations, he went to take bath. But when he was gone, Satyavati's mother felt that, oh, her husband must have prepared. She told her daughter, a husband is always very partial to his wife. So he must have certainly given you a special oblation. Why don't you give me yours and you take mine? So they exchanged. and the mother drank or ate the oblation which was meant for Satyavati, and Satyavati ate the oblation which was meant for her mother. And when Rishika Muni came back, he understood and he explained, this is you'll have to bear the consequences of this. That oblation which I prepared for your mother was meant for a fierce Kshatriya and you ate it. So now your son will be a fierce Kshatriya. And the one that I prepared for you was meant for a very learned, gentle Brahmana. Now the king's son will become a Brahmana, a learned scholar. So let's see what happened after that. तद्विदित्वा मुनिः प्राह पत्नीं कष्टम् अकारशीः घोरो दण्डधरः पुत्रो भ्राता ते ब्रह्म वित्तमः. So your brother, he had said that we read this translation yesterday. We just had to read the purport. So when the great sage Richika returned home after bathing and understood what had happened in his absence, he said to his wife Satyavati, "You have done a great wrong. Your son will be a fierce Kshatriya. Although you are the wife of a Brahmana, your son is going to be a fierce Kshatriya, able to punish everyone. Whereas your brother, that means your mother's son, he will be a learned scholar in spiritual science." So we have to read the purport. So yesterday, Saujanya Mataji is the last person who read. So Pragnya is not here. Vindyavali Mataji is not here. So we'll start again. Achintadev Prabhu, your turn.
You had said yesterday that Usha Mataji has been missing classes, so
That's right. Thank you. Thank you, Prabhuji. Yes, Usha Mataji, you can read.
Thank you, Mataji. But today I'm home, Mataji. I can take any turn today.
It's okay. Go ahead. You missed in the past also. So you'll get another turn when we come back to you. You can read first.
Okay, thank you. A Brahmana is highly qualified when he can control his senses and mind, when he is a learned scholar in spiritual science, and when he is tolerant and forgiving. A Kshatriya, however, is highly qualified when he is fierce in giving punishment to wrongdoers. These qualities are stated in Bhagavad Gita 18.44243. Because Satyavati, instead of eating her own oblation, had eaten that which was meant for her mother, she would give birth to a son imbued with the Kshatriya spirit. This was undesirable. The son of a Brahmana is generally expected to become a Brahmana, but if such a son becomes fierce like a Kshatriya, he is designated according to the description of the four Varnas in Bhagavad Gita. Chatur Varnam Maya Shastram Guna Karma Vipagasya. If the son of Brahmana does not become like a Brahmana, he may be called a Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Sudra, according to his qualifications. The basic principle for dividing society is not a person's birth, but his qualities and actions. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mataji. So Srila Prabhupada is bringing out one very important point, philosophical point here, that just because Satyavati's son, so now she ate her mother's oblation. So her mother's oblation was meant for a Kshatriya, a very powerful Kshatriya. Now, but after eating that oblation, the son will come from whom? He will be born of Satyavati and Richika Muni. So simply because he takes birth from Satyavati, is he going to be a Brahmana? No, he won't be a Brahmana. Because he has the quality of a Kshatriya, he will be a Kshatriya. That's the point. So Brahmana and Kshatriya is not by birth, it is by quality and also their work. They, according to their quality, now they will work that way. So guna and karma. Guna means his nature, his quality. Karma means by his work. So Richika Muni told his wife, or before that, Srila Prabhupada is explaining what are the qualities of a Brahmana. Brahmana is highly qualified. when he is able to control his senses and mind, when he is a learned scholar in spiritual science, when he is tolerant and forgiving. These are the qualities of a Brahmana. Highly learned in spiritual science, able to control his mind and senses, and also he is able to forgive and tolerate. These are the qualities of a Brahmana. Nice to remember. He should be highly learned in spiritual science, scriptures, and he should be able to control his mind and senses, and he should be very forgiving and tolerant and forgiving. These are the qualities. So if a Brahmana has these qualities, you would consider him to be an advanced, highly advanced Brahmana. What about a Kshatriya? A Kshatriya, however, is highly qualified when he is fierce in giving punishment to wrongdoers. There's no question of being tolerant and forgiving. When there is a wrongdoer, there's no question of tolerating, it's okay, or forgiving. No. So Kshatriya's nature is different. Brahmana's nature is different. Brahmana is tolerating and he forgives. Even if people injure him, he just forgives. Kshatriya's nature is he will immediately punish the wrongdoer, whether to him or to anyone else. He won't tolerate. That's the point, Kshatriya. So Brahmana's nature is different from Kshatriya's nature. They're two different people. And then if only when a Kshatriya has these qualities, he is considered to be a good, advanced Kshatriya, highly qualified Kshatriya. So these qualities are stated in the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, right? Brahma Karma, what are the qualities of Brahmana? What are the qualities of Kshatriya? Then Vaishya, Shudra, what are their activities? It's given in the 18th chapter, 1842-43. Now, Satyavati ate her mother's oblation, so she would give birth to a son who has these Kshatriya qualities. He will be very fierce and capable of punishing the wrongdoers. But for a Brahmana's son, this type of consciousness is not desirable. This type of nature of punishing any wrongdoer immediately, that's not suitable for a Brahmana's son. But she's going to get a son like that. And similarly, for a Kshatriya also, he should be fierce. He cannot be just simply forgiving and tolerant. Kshatriya means he should act, he should punish the wrongdoers. So the king's son would be a Brahmana who would be very tolerant and forgiving. And Brahmana's son will become a fierce Kshatriya who cannot tolerate any injustice, he'll go and punish. So both were actually undesirable. It was not a desirable situation. The son of a Brahmana is generally expected to become a Brahmana. And then, of course, Srila Prabhupada goes on to explain how it is not by birth. Generally, it is expected. Why it is expected? Of course, he will have those samskaras and also he will get that type of training at home. So it is natural that a Brahmana's son will become a Brahmana, except in rare cases like this. So he already has the samskaras of a Kshatriya, now the boy that's going to be born. So let's see. प्रसादितः सत्यवत्या मैवं भूर इति भार्गवः अथ तर्हि भवेत् पौत्रो जमदग्निस्ततो भवत्. Yeah, Prabhuji, you can read both the translation and purport. Achintya Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Translation. Satyavati, however, pacified Richika Muni and peaceful words and requested that her son not be like a fierce Kshatriya. Richika Muni replied, then your grandson will be of a Kshatriya spirit. Thus, Jamadagni was born as the son of Satyavati. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
You'll read the purport, Prabhuji? One line.
Yeah.
Or the next. Yeah, go ahead, Prabhuji.
The great sage Richika was very angry, but somehow or other, Satyavati pacified him, and at her request, he changed his mind. It's indicated here that the son of Jagadagni would be born as Parusharam. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. So the thing is, Richikam, obviously, right? He made this oblation. First of all, he obliged their request, right, to prepare oblations so that they can have children. And then after that, they go and change it and, spoil the whole thing. And he's also going to be implicated in that because being a Brahmana, he will get a son who's a Kshatriya. So he was angry that the ladies did this. They changed. He was very angry, it is said. But his wife Satyavati was able to pacify him. And of course, she was also not happy with the consequence, right? It's not suitable. So she requested her husband, let my son not be a fierce Kshatriya. Please forgive my mistake. Her mistake was she gave her portion to her mother. So that was my fault. That was my mistake. Please forgive me. Let my son not be a fierce Kshatriya. That's not desirable. So Richik Muni said, okay, I cannot just nullify the effect of the, because the mantras were chanted for a Kshatriya, but I can postpone it. So your son won't be a fierce Kshatriya, your son will be a Brahmana, but his son will be a Kshatriya, a very fierce Kshatriya. So similarly, her mother also, her son would be a Kshatriya, but that Kshatriya's son will be will be a Brahmana, like that. So it was postponed to one generation later. Instead of the first generation, the son of Satyavati being born as a Kshatriya, that was moved to the next generation. So Satyavati's grandson would become a Kshatriya. So who was the son of Richika Muni and Satyavati? Jamadagni. So Jamadagni was a Brahmana. Richika Muni's son, Jamadagni, was a Brahmana. But Jamadagni's son was Parashuram. And Parashuram, even though born of a Brahmana, he had the spirit of a Kshatriya. And we also know Parashuram is the incarnation of Shaktavesha avatar of the Supreme Lord. Okay, so Richik Muni said, okay, your grandson, if not your son, then your grandson will be a fierce Kshatriya. Next. Sachabhut sumahat punya kaushiki loka pavani renoh sutam renukam vai jamadagnir uvahayam tasyam vai bhargava rishehe suta vasumad adayah yaviyan jagya etesham rama ityabhi vishrutah. Aditi Lata Mataji or Arunita? Not ready? You're not there? Oh, I don't see their name. Maybe they... Okay, so Isha.
Satyavati later became the sacred river Kaushiki to purify the entire world, and her son, Jamadagni, married Renuka, the daughter of Renu. By the semen of Jamadagni, many sons, headed by Vasuman, were born from the womb of Renuka. The youngest of them was named Rama or Parashuram.
So Satyavati, the wife of Richika Muni, later became the sacred river Kaushiki to purify the entire world. Okay? So Satyavati is the wife of Richika Muni, and her son was Jamadagni, the son who was born by her eating the oblation which was prepared by her husband for her mother, of course, but she ate. So as a result of that, she got one son, and the son's name was Jamadagni. And later on, it is said that she became a sacred river. Satyavati became a sacred river called Kaushiki. Okay, why? To purify the entire world. So this, her son Jamadagni married Renuka. Who is Renuka? The son of Renu. And Renuka had several sons from Jamadagni. Who are they? Vasuman. The first one was Vasuman, and many other sons were born. The last one, the youngest one, was Parashuram. He's called either Rama or Parashurama. Next. Yamahur Vasudevamsham Hayhayanam Kulantakam Trihisaptakritvo Ya Imam Trihisaptakritvo Ya Imam Chakre Nikshatriyam Mahim. Krishna Shish.
Learned scholars accept this Parashuram as a celebrated incarnation of Vasudeva, who annihilated the dynasty of Kartavirya. Parashuram killed all the Kshatriyas on earth 21 times.
So learned scholars accept this Parashuram as the celebrated incarnation of Vasudeva. Vasudeva means the Supreme Lord. As the celebrated incarnation of Vasudeva, who annihilated the dynasty of Kartavirya. Who annihilated? Parashuram annihilated. So the learned scholars accept Parashuram as an incarnation of Lord Vasudeva. Vasudeva. You have Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, Vasudeva. So they accept Parashuram as an incarnation of Vasudeva. And this Parashuram annihilated the dynasty of Kartavirya. And Parashuram killed all the Kshatriyas on the whole planet Earth. He just removed all the Kshatriyas from the planet Earth 21 times. That means first time if he just killed all the Kshatriyas on the planet Earth, except he wouldn't kill boys, little boys, but all the men, Kshatriyas, who he killed them, the rulers. And after some years, if there were any young boys, they would grow up, and again another batch of Kshatriyas would be ready. And also there were other conditions. He would not kill those Kshatriyas who were afraid, right, to fight with him, or who are getting married, who are hiding behind their wives. He would not kill them, because what kind of a Kshatriya would hide behind a woman? So he would not kill them. So that way also some Kshatriyas remained. So after a few years again he would go and kill all the Kshatriyas. Like this for 21 times he rid the earth of all Kshatriyas. Parashuram. Okay. So who is that Parashuram? He's an incarnation of Lord Vasudeva. Driptam kshatram bhuvo bharam abramanyam aninashat rajastamo vritam ahan falgunyapi kritem hasi. Madhava?
In the royal dynasty, being excessively proud because of the material amount of passion and ignorance, became irreligious and ceased to care for the laws enacted by the Brahmanas. Parashuram killed them. Although their offense was not very severe, he killed them to lessen the burden of the world.
Why Parashuramji killed? Lord Parashuram killed all the Kshatriyas. What is the reason? When the royal dynasty, the kings, Kshatriyas, being excessively proud because of the material modes of passion and ignorance, became irreligious and ceased to care for the laws enacted by the Brahmanas. That's what. So the Kshatriyas are supposed to rule according to the guidance of the Brahmanas. They should remain subordinate to the Brahmanas. Although they are the rulers, but they are always obedient to the Brahmanas. And then they rule according to the guidance of Brahmanas. And how do the Brahmanas guide? They guide from the scriptures. So the Kshatriyas rule according to scriptural injunctions, and they receive this from the Brahmanas. That's why you'll see every Kshatriya will have a priest, right? Rajguru. Like Lord Ramchandra has Vashishta Muni, and Dhritarashtra Maharaj also had Dronacharya, Kripacharya, like that. So, but sometimes if the Kshatriyas become very proud and they don't care for the Brahmanas, that's not a good sign. That's not a good sign for Kshatriyas when they become proud and they don't care for Brahmanas. So at that time, when not just proud, they became excessively proud because of the material modes of passion and ignorance, and thus they became irreligious and ceased to care for the laws enacted by the Brahmanas. At that time, Parashuram killed them. Although their offense was not very severe, he killed them to lessen the burden of the earth. So why Parashuramji killed? Because there were too many. Just like when Lord Krishna came, before Lord Krishna came, the earth was completely overburdened by the military forces of all these demoniac kings. So then Bhumi Devi went and prayed to Lord Brahma, and then Lord Brahma went to Kshirodakshai Vishnu, and how Lord Krishna appeared. So when Lord Krishna appeared, he would just rid the earth. Finally, we had the battle of Kurukshetra. But before that also, Jarasandha would come. He would gather his army. That means all the different kings, demoniac kings, they would all join him to go and fight against Krishna. Krishna would kill all the other kings. He would just leave Jarasandha alive. And Jarasandha would go back. And again he would go and get another army together. And then he would come back to fight. Again Krishna would kill all the other kings that came with Jarasandha and leave him alive. Why? In this way, Jarasandha would do the work for Krishna. He'll go and collect who are the remaining demoniac Kshatriyas. They will come and join him, and they'll come to Krishna, and Krishna can just kill, like that. So here also, Parashuram rid the whole earth of all the Kshatriyas. Why? Because they were too proud, excessively proud, and they were not obedient to the Brahmanas. They were not good kings. So the burden of these kings, had to be reduced or removed. So therefore, even though their offense was not too severe, Parashuramji killed them anyway to reduce the burden of the earth. That's the Lord's plan. Oh, we are supposed to read the purport. Okay, Rasapriya. Purport, no?
The Kshatriyas are the rulers class governing the world in accordance with the rules and regulations enacted by great Brahmanas and saintly persons. As soon as the ruler class becomes irresponsible in regard to the religious principles, it becomes a burden on the earth. As stated here, the system of the Param Abramanyam. So the ruling class is influenced by the lower modes of nature, namely ignorance and passion. It becomes a burden to the world and must then be annihilated by superior power. We actually see from modern history that monarchies have been abolished by various revolutions. But unfortunately, the monarchies have been abolished to establish the supremacy of third class and fourth class men. Although monarchy is overpowered by the modes of passion and ignorance have been abolished in the world, the inhabitants of the world are still unhappy. For although the qualities of the former monarchs were degraded by tales of ignorance, these monarchs have been replaced by men of the mercantile and worker classes, whose qualities are even more degraded. When the government is actually guided by Brahmanas or one conscious men, then there can be real happiness for the people. Therefore, in previous times, when the rule of laws was degraded to levels of passive ignorance, the Brahmanas, headed by Satya spirited Brahmana as Parasura, killed them pretty consecutive times.
Prabhupada is explaining why Parashuramji killed the Kshatriyas. The Kshatriyas must govern the world in accordance with the rules and regulations enacted by great Brahmanas and saintly persons. And of course, what will the Brahmanas and saintly persons, how do they guide? They guide from the scriptures. The scriptures are the guides, right? Not just for Kshatriyas, for everyone. What type of action one should do, what one should not do, how he should eat, what he should eat, how he should sleep, what is the goal of life, who is God, what is his name, where does he live, what is medicine, what should you do when you get a sore throat, what should you do when you get cold. Everything is there in the scriptures. Everything. Sarva Vyavahara Hetu Jnanam. Right? So, knowledge means knowledge, right? Is you need knowledge for all types of dealings in this world. To do any activity in this world, you need knowledge, isn't it? Now, for you to make, let's say you prepare rice, you need knowledge. First of all, you have to know what is rice, number one. Then, you have to know that, what is the procedure to cook rice, like that. Every small thing you need some knowledge. So that which gives you the cause for this knowledge is called the pramana or the evidence. That means, how do you know that whatever you have learned, it's not that everything is correct knowledge. That's another problem, right? Because there is something called yathartha jnanam. Yathartha jnanam means understanding a thing as it is, right? And ayathartha jnanam means you mistake something to be something else. You get false knowledge. It's called illusion. Yeah. For example, you're cooking in the kitchen, and instead of you want to put salt in the sabji, but by mistake you put baking soda. You mistake the baking soda to be salt because both are white. You just put. This is called, so your understanding that it is salt because it is white, you got wrong knowledge there. You understand? So all knowledge is not correct knowledge. You can also, so but if you see salt and you understand this is salt, you get a knowledge that this is salt. That knowledge is called yathartha jnanam, correct knowledge, real knowledge. But you can get a mistaken knowledge also. That is called ayathartha jnanam. It's not real knowledge. So for all dealings, what type of knowledge do we need? We need real knowledge. We need real knowledge. Where does this knowledge come from? So it is a big exercise. I think I discussed it in the past. But finally, we arrive at knowledge, the proof that the knowledge that you're getting is real. How do you know? If it is endorsed, if it is confirmed by the scripture, then you know that your knowledge is true. Not because I see, therefore seeing is believing, they say. No. No. Because you cannot see everything. And the knowledge that you get by seeing is not always true. Exactly as in the dark, you see a rope and you think it is a snake. You didn't get the right knowledge there, and you're depending on your eyes. You see? So, but real knowledge, when you get from the scripture, for example, the scripture says the sun rises in the east. That's real knowledge. You may, by seeing, you may or may not be able to find out. But when it is said in the scripture, that is Perfect knowledge. It cannot be wrong. The scripture can never give you wrong information, wrong knowledge. It will always give you that knowledge which is free from any defect. So therefore, for all activities you need knowledge, and the right knowledge comes from scripture. Therefore, all your activities must be guided by the scripture. This is the conclusion. All our activities must be guided by the scripture. Now, activities, you have activities according to your position in society, according to your nature. There are activities for Brahmanas, activities for Kshatriyas, Shudras, Vaishyas, Brahmacharis, Grihasthas, Vanaprasthas, Sannyasi, women. Everyone has their set of prescribed activities, duties. What is my activity? How will I know? Who am I? Am I Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra? How will I know? I will know from the scripture. Of course, I told you already yesterday that whether I'm Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, that will be decided by the spiritual master. Again, the spiritual master also, how he will decide? Based on the system that is given in the scripture. So, the ultimate source of all knowledge, of all real knowledge, is the scripture. And the Brahmanas, they are the holders, right? They are the protectors, right? They dedicate their lives to studying the scripture themselves, learning it, and then teaching it to others. So they are the gurus. They are the ones that guide the society, not whimsically, but based on the scriptures. So therefore, even though the Kshatriyas are the leaders of society, still they must be subordinate to the Brahmanas, because the Brahmanas are guiding them according to scripture. Then the Kshatriyas can lead their lives according to the injunctions given in the scripture. As we read about, just now, Brahmana has different qualities, Kshatriya has different qualities. So he has different duties also. According to his quality, he'll have duties. So it's not that the Kshatriya will study himself the scriptures and according to that he's going to rule. No. Even for him to study, he will need a teacher. For that, he'll go to a Brahmana guru, like Lord Ramchandra, and to set example, of course, the four brothers, they went to Vashishta Muni. Even Lord Krishna and Balaram went to Sandipani Muni, like that. So Kshatriyas must always be guided by Brahmanas. Now, if the Kshatriya, seeing his position as I'm the ruler, so he ignores and doesn't care for the Brahmanas, what to speak of, he insults them. That's very bad, right? Yeah, that's very bad. So in that case, so that situation had arisen at that time. Not just one, but all the Kshatriyas, they were puffed up of their position and they didn't care for the Brahmanas. So at that time, all those Kshatriyas were killed. The entire earth was rid of all Kshatriyas by Lord Parashuram. Okay, so the Kshatriyas must govern the world according to the rules and regulations enacted by great Brahmanas and saintly persons. As soon as the ruling class becomes irresponsible in regard to the religious principles, if they don't follow the guidance given by the scriptures coming through Brahmanas, it becomes a burden on the earth. These Kshatriyas will simply become a burden if they are not following the religious principles given in the scriptures. Rajastamo vritam bharam abbrahmanyam. When the ruling class is influenced by the lower modes of nature, namely ignorance and passion, it becomes a burden to the world and must then be annihilated by superior power. So Kshatriyas are actually in the mode of passion, but for them to conduct themselves properly, to conduct their duties properly, they will need guidance from the Brahmanas who are in the mode of goodness. But if they degrade further down, along with the mode of passion, they are in the mode of ignorance also, then such Kshatriyas who are not being guided by the Brahmanas, they simply become a burden on the earth. They become a burden on the earth. Because they have all that power and they don't have anyone to guide them. So they become a burden, like Jarasan, right? He was taking all these princes and kings captive, misusing the power that you have. So then what is the result? They have to be annihilated. We actually see from modern history that monarchies have been abolished by various revolutions, but unfortunately the monarchies have been abolished to establish the supremacy of third class and fourth class men, right? Monarchy was abolished, and what is the result? Now there's no training for the rulers. There's no proper training for the rulers. Although monarchies overpowered by the modes of passion and ignorance have been abolished in the world, the inhabitants of the world are still unhappy. For although the qualities of the former monarchs were degraded by taints of ignorance, these monarchs have been replaced by men of the mercantile and worker classes whose qualities are even more degraded. That's the thing. Now you don't even have Kshatriyas. At least they got some training. Those who were born when monarchy was in place, the Kshatriyas had some training. But in today's world, there's no Kshatriya. So then who are the rulers? They're coming from Shudra or Vaishya backgrounds. So Shudra and Vaishyas are more degraded than Kshatriyas. Modes of ignorance. They are becoming leaders. So how did the situation of the society improve by abolishing monarchy? Although monarchy is overpowered by the modes of passion and ignorance have been abolished in the world, the inhabitants of the world are still unhappy, for although the qualities of the former monarchs were degraded by taints of ignorance, these monarchs have been replaced by men of the mercantile and worker classes whose qualities are even more degraded. When the government is actually guided by Brahmanas or God-conscious men, then there can be real happiness for people. Like Chanakya Pandit, right? He trained Chandragupta Maurya, and then he was advising, he was guiding. So if the government is actually guided, it's not that the Brahmanas sit on the throne. They don't sit on the throne, but they guide the kings. So if the government is guided by Brahmanas or God-conscious men, there can be real happiness for the whole kingdom, all people. Therefore, in previous times, when the ruling class was degraded to the modes of passion and ignorance, the Brahmanas headed by such a Kshatriya spirited Brahman, again, in previous times, when the ruling class was degraded to the modes of passion and ignorance, the Brahmanas headed by such a Kshatriya spirited Brahmana as Parashuram killed them 21 consecutive times. Can you think of another incident where Brahmanas just kill the Kshatriya because the Kshatriya is not fit to be the king? Vena, very good, King Vena. He was killed by the Brahmanas. All the Brahmanas together took out their Brahman thread and they said something like, I think, Hun or something like, die. And King Vena just dropped down dead by the uttering of mantras by Brahmanas. But after killing the king, because he was a bad king, a worthless Kshatriya, so then after killing the Kshatriya, it's not that the Brahmanas themselves sit on the throne. No. Then they arranged for the next Kshatriya, right? Prithu Maharaj came. So, headed by Parashuram, it is said. So, punishing Kshatriyas when they are not following religious principles. Who is the leader of all the Brahmanas who punish the Kshatriyas? The leader is Parashuram. He killed not one king, but all the kings on the whole planet of earth 21 times. Therefore, it is said, headed by Parashuram. Kshatriya spirited Brahmanas. Right? Kshatriya spirited Brahmanas. They killed. Okay. So next, Sonia Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Mataji, from where I should start?
In Kali Yuga,
In Kali Yuga, as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 12 to 13, Dasyu Prayesu Ragnesu, the ruling class, Ragnaya, will be no better than plunderers, Dasyu, because the third class and fourth class men will monopolize the affairs of government. Ignoring the religious principle and Brahmanical rules and regulations, they will certainly try to plunder the riches of the citizen without consideration. As stated elsewhere in Srimad Bhagavatam 12:140. Mataji, can you read for me?
yeah. Asamskritaha kriyahina rajasa tamasavritaha prajaste bhakshayishyanti mlecha rajanya rupinaha.
Should I continue?
Yes.
Being unpurified, neglecting to discharge human duties properly, and being influenced by the modes of passion, rajas, and ignorance, tamas, unclean people, malachas, posing as member of the government, Ragnaya Rupinaha, will shallow the citizens. Prajas te
Bhakshayishyanti.
bhakshayishyanti. And in still another place, Srimad Bhagavatam 12:2, 7 and 8 says,
एवं प्रजाभिर्दुष्टाभिर् आकीर्णे क्षितिमण्डले ब्रह्मवित् क्षत्रशूद्राणां यो बली भविता नृपः प्रजा हि लुब्धैराजन्यैर्निर्घृणैर्दस्युधर्मभिः आच्छिन्नदारद्रविणा यास्यन्ति गिरिकाननम्. So the next person can read, Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. So I'll give the next person a chance, Usha Mataji. So Nilambari Radha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Dandavat Pranam. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Dhanvat Pranam Mataji, Jai Srila Prabhupada. You can start with human society.
Human society is naturally grouped into 4 divisions, as stated in Bhagavad Gita, Chaturvarnam Maya Srishtam Guna Karma Vibhagasha. But if this system is neglected and the qualities and divisions of society are not considered, the result will be Brahmavid Brahmavid Shatra Shudranam Yobali Bhavita Nripa. So the so-called caste system of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishyas, and Shudras, and Shudra will be meaningless. As a result, whoever somehow or other become powerful will be the king or president, and
Thus the Prajas.
I actually I increase the size, and thus the prajas or citizens will be so harassed that they will give up hearth and home and will go to the.
I should make it smaller, right?
Is that what? Go to the forest. Yeah, forest. Yashyanti Giri Kananam, to escape harassment by government official who have no mercy and are addicted to the ways of plunderers. Therefore, the prajas or the people in general must take to the Krishna consciousness movement, the Hare Krishna movement, which is the sound incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Kali Kale Nam Rupe Krishna Avatar. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, has now appeared as an incarnation by his holy name. Therefore, when the prajas become Krishna conscious, they can they can then expect a good government and good society, a perfect life, and liberation from the bondage of material existence. Hare Krishna
Thank you,
Mataji.
Mataji.
Hare
Hare Krishna. No problem, Mataji. Yeah. So, what are we reading here? We saw the Kshatriyas. Yes, if the Kshatriyas are not proper, then the Brahmanas will punish them. Then in Kali Yuga, what is the situation in Kali Yuga? Who will become the ruler? Plunderers will become rulers, like dacoits. So the ruler will be, like the other day, Vindhyavali Mataji was saying, that uh, the purpose of the fence is to protect the field. But if the fence itself protect the field from what? From other animals that would come and eat the plants. So if you keep a fence, then the plants are not eaten. But if the fence itself starts eating the plants, then who will protect the plants? Those who are supposed to protect, if they themselves start plundering, then where will the citizens go? That is the situation in Kali Yuga. Those who call themselves the protectors, those who are supposed to give protection, they will simply exploit those who they are supposed to protect. Dasyu means plunderers or thieves. So, in Kali Yuga, as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 12 to 13, Dasyu Prayeshu Rajasu. Often, Prayaha means, often. You will see Dasyu Rajasu. The Rajasu, the kings, are plunderers. The ruling class Rajanya will be no better than plunderers, Dasyus. Because the third class and fourth class men, as we saw, right? At least Kshatriyas have some samskaras and some training about ruling. But after removing the Kshatriyas, you have put Vaishyas and Shudras as ruling class. So what can you expect? Vaishyas and Shudras, their quality is much lower than Kshatriyas. So therefore, and they are like plunderers. Right? What does a Vaishya do? Vaishya is about getting more money for himself, isn't it? The quality of Vaishya is he likes money. So that is why his brain is always working about how to make, if he has $1, he thinks about how to turn that 1 to 10, 10 to 100, 100 to 1000. That's a Vaishya's mentality. So if you make such a person the ruler, what will he do? He will try to take as much as he can for himself. And then what about Shudra? Even lower than a Vaishya. Shudra's mentality, his consciousness is even lower than a Vaishya. Right? So if you put a Shudra on the seat, then he will act according to his nature. So that is why in Kali Yuga, the ruling class is no better than plunderers, because they are all third and fourth class men. Right? And these third and fourth class men will monopolize the affairs of the government. It will be only the third and fourth class men. They will take over the posts in government. Ignoring the religious principles and Brahminical rules and regulations, they will certainly try to plunder the riches of the citizens without consideration. Right? Collect taxes and take all that money for oneself, as stated elsewhere in Srimad Bhagavatam. So that was one verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. Dasyu prayeshu rajasu in Kali Yuga. Then another verse from Bhagavatam, again 12th canto. Asamskritaha kriyahina. Samskritaha. Asamskritaha kriyahina. Rajasa tamasavritaha. Prajaste bhakshayishyanti. Blecha rajanya rupina. Again, the quality of these kings of Kali Yuga. Being unpurified, that means there are no samskaras. When you perform samskaras, there is purification. But there is no samskara, right? For example, for Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, it's not the same. For Shudras, you have least samskara. There's only one samskara for the Shudras. You know what is the only samskara for Shudras? Marriage. That's all. There's only one samskara. He doesn't have to do other samskaras. But you go to higher and higher castes, right? Varnas, more and more. Brahmanas will have the highest number. Sannyas, they will have to take sannyas. But Kshatriyas are not required to take sannyas. Vaishyas also. Shudras, no. Like that. So according to your position, you have, but samskaras are meant for purification. So a Kshatriya would have so many samskaras that he would have to go through. And instead now you bring a Shudra as a leader, he doesn't have any samskaras, so he's not purified. Because there were no samskaras, he didn't undergo any samskaras, he's not purified. That's the point in Kali Yuga. And they are the ones who have monopolized the posts of government, the Shudras and Vaishyas. So they are unpurified, neglecting to discharge human duties properly, and being influenced by the modes of passion and ignorance. Right? Vaishyas are in the mixed modes of passion and ignorance. Shudras are purely in the mode of ignorance. So because of this, they neglect to discharge human duties properly. They're influenced by these lower modes. Unclean people, who are unclean people? Blechas, posing as members of the government, will swallow the citizens. Exactly like the fence eating the plant. So instead of giving protection to the citizens, they'll just see an opportunity to exploit them more and more. So it is said they will literally swallow the citizens. Then one more quote from Srimad Bhagavatam, again from 12th canto. Evam prajabhir dushtabhir akirne kshiti mandale brahmavit kshatra shudranam yo bali bhavita nripaha prajahi lubdhai rajanyair nirghृणाir dasyu dharmabhi achinadara dravina yasyanti girikananam. Human society is naturally grouped into 4 divisions. Yes? Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. But if this system is neglected, so what is this system called? Varnashram system. If this system is neglected and the qualities and divisions of society are not considered, again, Varnashram system, quality and divisions of society, if they are not considered, the result will be Brahmavid Kshatra Shudranam Yobali Bhavita Nipaha. The so-called caste system of Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra will be meaningless. That means if this system is neglected and the qualities and divisions of society are not considered, yes, that means this Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra is by their quality, by training, not simply by taking birth in, you have these titles, right? If somebody has this last name, like let's say Dvivedi, Chaturvedi, that means they're all Brahmanas. So simply you have that title, does that mean you're a Brahmana? Or do you actually have the nature and the training and you do the work of a Brahmana? In Kali Yuga, people will call themselves Brahmanas, but actually there is no training, there are no samskaras, there's no purity, but still they call themselves. So that's of no use. So-called caste system of Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya is meaningless if there is no proper, you have to see the qualities. Based on qualities, the society has to be divided. And because that is absent, in Kali Yuga, you don't divide the society according to qualities, simply by, name. So then such a system is of no use. It's meaningless, it is worthless. As a result, whoever somehow or other becomes powerful will be the king or president, and thus the prajas or citizens will be so harassed. So now you don't have brahmanas, you don't have kshatriyas, because there's no training, there's no samskaras. So they may have whatever titles they may have. If there's no training, if there's no qualities, then in spite of having those titles, they are not going to be of any use, right? They're as good as, because Kalau Sudra Sambhava, everyone is born a Shudra. And if you're not going through any samskaras, then you are a Shudra, regardless of what your last name is. And then you go and sit on the throne, or you become the president or something. How can you expect any happiness in that country, in that kingdom? That's the point, right? Whoever somehow or other becomes powerful will be the king or president, and thus the praja will be so harassed, because this person sitting on the throne is not a king, he's actually a plunderer, right? So the people will be so harassed that they will give up hearth and home and will go to the forest. Like they'll be so, Srila Prabhupada also says, they'll be so disgusted with all different types of taxes, they'll be like completely frustrated. They'll leave home and go away to the forest in Kaliga. This is said in the scripture, Giri Kananam, in the 12th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Why they will go to the forest leaving home? To escape harassment by government. Government officials are supposed to give protection, but they harass the citizens so much that they leave homes and go away to the forest. And these government officials have no mercy and are addicted to the ways of plunderers. Therefore, the prajas must take to Krishna consciousness. How can you change this situation? How can you protect yourself? You take to Krishna consciousness, the Hare Krishna movement, which is the sound incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yes. So this Hare Krishna is non-different from the personality of Godhead. Kali Kale Nama Rupe Krishna Avatar. Krishna has now appeared as an incarnation by his holy name. Therefore, when the prajas become Krishna conscious, they can expect a good government, because nowadays it's the days of democracy. You don't have any more system where the higher authorities are choosing. There's no monarchy. So then, can democracy also be used? Yes, provided all the citizens are devotees. If they are devotees, then they will elect somebody who is devotional. They will elect a devotee. So then, if you have a devotee as a ruler, it's good. It's good. So therefore, all the citizens need to take shelter of the Hare Krishna movement. They have to chant Hare Krishna, because the name Hare Krishna is non-different from the personality of Godhead. And if all people take shelter of Krishna like this, they just start chanting Hare Krishna, that means they are with Krishna, because Krishna, Hare Krishna and the Lord Krishna is non-different. The name and the Lord are non-different. So when they chant Hare Krishna, the Lord is with them. Then they will, even if there is democracy, all these devotees will know whom to choose. So that is the point here. That's the only way out in Kali Yuga, right? Otherwise, the leaders will be just plunderers. So such a long purport. We will end the class here. We went over time. Usha Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. One small question, Mataji. Sometimes when we see people who are not born in the Brahmin class or born in other classes, you see them like very religious and praying and doing all the stuff. How do you classify them, Mataji? I feel like sometimes they're very knowledgeable also. They're very qualified and they I feel like they get purified too, but how do you classify in this situation then?
So you will have to really, you cannot simply go by someone is religious. So you have to check for the qualities that are given in Bhagavad Gita, right? So like just now we saw some qualities. They are tolerant, they are forgiving, they are very learned and realized in the scriptural knowledge. As soon as you say scriptures, they are learned in scriptures, then they should know uh, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that I am not this body. That is Brahmana. Brahmana, it's not simply somebody who's doing puja, then he's a Brahmana. Anyway, you are saying someone who's not born in a Brahmana family, but they have attraction or attachment to worshipping like that. And along with that, you see other qualities of a Brahmana also, then you accept them as a Brahmana, regardless of which family they take birth in. You have to accept them as a Brahmana.
Thank you,
But
Mataji.
for you to accept them as a Brahmana, first you should be knowledgeable enough to understand who is a Brahmana. It's not just a sentimental thing. So then again, for that also you have to look in the scripture. What are the real qualities of a Brahmana? So like Srila Prabhupada quoted, chapter 18, text 42, 43. If you see there about the duties of a, or the consciousness and the work that Brahmana does, and then you compare it with the person, and if they all match, never mind where he took birth, what his background is, he is a Brahmana. That's what Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita. Okay.
Thank you, Mataji.
So, Hare Krishna. I think we will stop here. We didn't read Bhagavad Gita and Leelamrita, but it's already your 8:10. I think you have to go to work, etc. So we will end here. Thank you all so much, dear devotees. Hare Krishna. So we will continue tomorrow. Thank you.